today, once again, I'm heading to Yokohama for the Pikachu Outbreak. I've been there once before, 4 years ago, where it looked a little bit like this. This year's a little bit different though, because they've decided to have everything in the evening rather than during the day. It's pretty hot and sweaty, so maybe that's a good idea. Which isn't to say it isn't a lovely day, because it is. It's actually my favourite kind of day to be here in my garden. But yeah, probably a good idea to avoid too much walking outdoors. Okay, hold on. Bunny break. Bunny? Are you excited, Bunny? Bunny! Oh, first though, we're hungry, so it's time for a spot of yakiniku. Yakiniku. Alright, belly's full, it's time to head to Yokohama. Here we are in Yokohama, but that's not Pokemon, that's Anpanman, where we watched the parade last time, 4 years ago. Everyone's already ready for the Eevee parade. Squishy Pikachus. And a big one. Many goods. Compared with the last one I went to, I guess this one has more of a militant feeling. But that was 5 years ago, and only the second one they'd ever done. With the first one ever, I think only having about 20 Pikachu anyway. So yeah, not to get too Pikachu Outbreak hipster on you, but it was different back then. And yes, by the way, I did just teleport back to my house. It was getting too dark to film these kind of segments out in Yokohama. So yeah, this year they decided that they would only have the big events, like the parades, at night. I'm assuming that's mostly because they had to keep it a bit more contained. You know, with the crowd numbers way up, I can see it getting more and more of a logistical problem every year. But that kind of means it loses that feeling from before of just wandering around Yokohama and discovering more and more fun things. Basically, this year we were able to do 3 things. Look at the Pokemon Go event in a park. This is the Pokemon Go event, so there are a few more random Pokemon about, not just Pikachu and Eevee. Catch the Eevee parade. And then squeeze into some of the last available seats at the big finale light show. Whereas 4 years ago, in a single day, we were able to see, well, the dancing Pikachu at the red brick warehouses. The Hawaiian Pikachu, the Sailor Pikachu, the Dancer Pikachu whose buddies had to help him learn to spin around in a circle, the huge long parade of Pikachu that went through the shopping mall, the funky hip-hop Pikachu who danced so close you could reach out and touch them. I mean, seriously, look how close we were. And yeah, look how close this kid was.
That kid is molesting that kid.
And it's not just a case of confining everything to the evening, though that is, of course, a big part of it. No, nobody is going to mention all those figures you just saw. But more than that, it's just about accommodating the sheer number of people. Basically, the event has got too big to do the way that they used to do it. So while it is a bit of a shame that it's not the way it used to be, that doesn't mean it wasn't a good time. It definitely was. Even though I haven't played Pokemon Go since it very first came out, and I got bored of getting a million Rattatas and Pidgeys, I really enjoyed going around the park that was set up for the players. The first Pokemon we found was actually a Psyduck, which makes a nice change from the usual Pikachus. Hello, Psyduck. And yeah, there were a handful of other Pokemon there, about 50% of whom I recognised. Maybe 40. Well, there weren't any Mudkips, sorry. They also had some nice cutouts of the gym leaders so that their fans could go and pose with them. From there it was pretty easy to get to the Queen's Mall for the other events. But even though we were over an hour early, it was too late to queue up for the first light show. People were at that point queuing up for the 8:30 performance, which was about 3 hours early. But we decided we wanted to see more than just one event, so we went back to the Queen's Mall to wait for the Eevee parade. Now for this we actually managed to get pretty good seats, though it's another sign of times changing that last time I was there we just sort of ran into the parade. Front row seats were all taken well over an hour in advance, but we were, you know, a couple of rows back and that was fine. Thence we went to the Museum of Art, which is where the projection show is. You know, we kind of hoped to slip into the second and final showing, but of course a few thousand other people had had exactly the same idea. We did, however, just about manage to get in for the show, although as one of the very last groups to be admitted and way, way over at the side, away from the main stage. But, some of the Pikachus and some of the dancers came over to dance directly in front of us, so, that was appreciated, even if the action was way over in the middle part of the area. The costumes are as cute as ever, though, the limbs still as stubby. The people inside the costumes are obviously a little more used to doing it than they were back when it was just starting out. And while I definitely suspect that most of it was designed for something else, maybe somebody's, university graduation project or something like that, the light show projected onto the building was really spectacular. And there was nothing at all wrong with the pounding music either. Would I have preferred going to see the funny Pikachu with the afro that's where the boat is? Maybe. I'm sure the big water fountains at the Akarenga were also pretty spectacular. But, if I had to choose again which show to go and see, I would probably make the same choice. What even is this angle? Ultimately, I think it would be a little bit unfair for me to say I was disappointed. I mean, yes, my experience the first time I went to this Pikachu Outbreak was a lot better than this one was. And if from now on they're always only in the evening, I may not be that tempted to go down there again. But, I'm comparing it to something that has just gone now. I was lucky enough to go to the second one they ever did, before it became as popular as it is now, before that many people really knew about it. So, yeah, there's just no way this event will ever go back to that small-scale adventure where you could just stumble upon a show happening and there'd be no crowd there whatsoever. Now, if you want to have a good seat, you have to queue up for at least 3 hours for the big shows, and probably 2 hours plus for just small parades and other little random events like that. And sure, that is a shame, but mostly I was just really super lucky when I went for the first time. I cherish the memory of that experience for what it was, and enjoy this one. Plus, of course, it's worth remembering that this is all done free. Sure, it's advertising and promotion for a really huge company, but none of us had to pay anything more than our train tickets to get there for this high-quality entertainment. We're not going to get the old Pikachu Outbreak back. In a way, I guess if you haven't experienced it, you missed the boat a bit, I guess. But that doesn't mean you can't head to Yokohama on a hot summer's day with your kids or your friends and really have a good time getting a glimpse of a dancing, adorable Pikachu. Okay, that's really all I have to say about that. There's just one more thing that I'd like to do before I finish. What better way to end the day than with a Pokemon surprise chocolate egg? Wow! It hits everything! With an interesting haircut!